Hey folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER.com. Thanks for checking out this video on the Cirrus SR22T from GreatPlanes. This video is going to be part one of a series of 3 videos on this airplane. In this video I'm going to show you, basically unbox the airplane and show you all the parts and everything that's included, everything you need to get it going. Part 2 is going to be a building guide, an assembly guide, and a how-to video, basically to show you how to get the airplane out to the field and flying. And the third video will be basically a flight demo video to show you what the airplane can do. As you can see here, this is the box as it arrived to me in the mail via UPS. You can see it got a little damage on this side, a little damage on this side. As we get into it, we'll see how well the packaging protected the airplane. Let's go ahead and get the box off, take a look inside. Taking a quick look at the outside of the box, you can see this airplane is intended for either glow or electric, so both power options. It looks like a really nice airplane, guys. All fiberglass fuselage with built-up wings. On the other side of the box here, we can see it's fully loaded with landing lights and navigation lights, flaps, a cockpit instrument panel, a really nice canopy that comes off, aluminum spinner, and overall looks like a really really nice airplane. As you can see, I do have the box top here removed and put aside here, and you can see everything is really nicely packaged and taped down. I did take a little look inside earlier just to make sure there wasn't any damage, and it doesn't look like it. But let's go ahead and get all the parts out and take a look inside. Here's the layout of all the parts that came out of the box, and I must say that GreatPlanes has definitely raised the bar with this model. The quality of everything is outstanding. Everything came, as you can see right down here, individually bagged. I left one wing bagged so you could see it. The fuselage was bagged. All the parts were bagged. And even between everything, they put these foam pieces between it, so to keep everything from rubbing together. So even though the box was pulverized a little bit on the ends by UPS, the contents of the box are really unscathed. Start at the top here, guys. The really nice fiberglass fuselage with rudder already hinged and glued on with nylon hinges ready to go. Nice cockpit interior. Both wing panels, flaps and ailerons, each with, I think, 4 hinges on the aileron. I think maybe even 4 on the flaps, I'm not sure, but they're already glued and pre-hinged with really nice nylon hinges, so no work to be done. Both halves of the elevator are the only parts you need to hinge, because you do need to put them together with a torque rod. Starting up back up here at the top, really nice landing gear components, wheel pants, main and tail spars right here, several push rods along here, nose wheel strut, wheels, and various parts bags, bulkheads, motor mount, and so forth, nuts, bolts, and screws, hinges, antennas, and a really nice aluminum spinner. Here's the instruction manual, of course, with decals that you can apply. And 2 parts that I'm not going to be using: the fuel tank and the motor mount, if you're going to use a glow motor. So really complete, really thorough package here, guys. Now let me give you a closer look at some of the individual parts so you can really see the quality firsthand. The first part up is the fiberglass fuselage, and as you can see from the reflection of my front window here, you can see how glassy smooth this model is. The fit and finish is pretty spectacular. Again, no doubt raising the bar with this model. The fuselage came separate from the cowl, packaged up separately, which was good because that allowed some flexibility and some space in the box. But you can see here, the cowling, really nice, with an LED, a super bright LED with landing light lens already mounted, and all you have to do is really just plug that in to get power to that light. The main fuselage itself right here, everything is pre-installed. All the wood bulkheads inside are laser cut, but all the blind nuts are already in there for your glow motor, landing gear, steering rod, pretty much your exhaust. All the holes and fittings and everything that needs to be there is already in place. You can see the spot for the spar, anti-rotation pin, and all that for the wings. As you travel down the back here, you can see actually inside the cockpit here how nice the the glass is. I should call it actually the plastic, but the glass, you can see in there that there's a real nice cockpit instrument panel there. As we move along to the back, you see the rudder is already hinged, and I'll zoom in here on what these hinges look like. Really impressive. You can see they're all glued in, and they just did a super job, as you can see, hinging this thing at the factory. So really not a whole lot of work to do, you know, when it comes to hinging and so forth with this plane. You can see some of the push rod exits, spot for the spar for the tail, anti-rotation pin and torque rods back here. But as I turn this thing around, you can just see really how nice it is, and just how nice of a finish this thing is. Screws right here for mounting your, actually tightening down your canopy, because this whole canopy pops off. Spaces here to put an antenna, I believe, up here. But just really, really nice cockpit seating and everything. Now I'll go ahead and take this canopy off, and you can see where the screws fit in here to lock the canopy in place. This whole cockpit area just kind of pops off, and you can put pilot figures in there, and you can see the laser cut wood and how nice everything there is. Let me go ahead and put this cockpit down here, and I'll show you the rest of the fuselage here. And you can see inside all the laser cut bulkheads and everything are in place, and they're nicely epoxied. You can see the epoxy in there and how secure everything is. Real solid battery tray right here to put everything on, and you can see down in there, I'll zoom in here for you to the firewall area, and for the landing gear area, you can see all the blind nuts that they already installed for you, and the nice thick firewall that they put up there. And as you look down the back, all the push rod tubes, guide tubes, and everything are all in there and ready to go. So again, guys, really top notch with this thing. Let me reach over and grab this canopy and put this thing back on. You can see that you can see where the plug-ins here are on this thing, and it looks like they used nice nylon pins to put this thing on there. And you can see how the back half just plugs right in. It comes taped on in the package and everything. So real nice fit on all these parts, guys. As I'm putting this thing together here and just sort of playing with it, you can see how nice and what a nice fit everything is. It just goes together nicely, and just a beautiful, beautiful fuselage, guys. Definitely A+ on the construction of this fuselage. Next up, we have one of the main wing panels, and as you can see, like the fuselage, it's really nice and glassy. They did an excellent covering job. They are built up wood, and they just did a super job with it. Everything is hinged, and as you can see with the flaps, they actually hinged it down at the bottom edge, so when it comes up, it actually does stop at the wood stop, and it goes down. So ailerons, everything was just hinged real nice, guys. I mean, they use nylon hinges glued in. It's not a bad idea to take a tug on all these things, just make sure they're secure into position, but they used 4 hinges for the aileron and 3 for the flaps, and you probably want to take a tug on the rudder as well and just make sure that's secure in place. But nice high aspect ratio wing. As I move here to the wingtip, you can see that they have a glued on sort of molded and blended fiberglass wingtip with a super bright LED already mounted in there. The wire is already run, and it runs here out the wing root here. There is a threaded blind nut in here for installing a mounting screw, so you can assemble the airplane at the field in there. Spar slot, I'm assuming this is an anti-rotation pin here, and then of course a hole and a pull-through string, so you can pull all your flap and aileron servos through. Another nice impressive feature, they've already, of course, where the aileron and the flap servos go, where you mount them, they're taped on, and the hatches are pre-covered and everything. And last but not least here, the landing gear mount. Down in here, there's metal blind nuts already mounted that you're going to take, that these landing gear struts that I'll show you later plug right into that nicely. So no wire, no cheap wire strut, going from wing to wing. You have a custom-made gear strut for this thing. Once again, guys, top-notch, super high quality, outstanding quality wing panel. Here's a quick look at the landing gear on this airplane. As you can see, it's a real tough, like a resin, gear strut here. Wheel pant is all fiberglass, shiny, has a nice bulkhead fiberglassed in here that will mount the wheel pant right to the strut and the axle and so forth in the included hardware. But you can see how this this mounts in with really little to no effort. You just put this thing right on, guys, and you just put 4 machine screws right in there, and that secures the whole landing gear assembly in place. Just really super super nice quality, guys. Looks like a very, very tough landing gear system for this plane. Here's a quick look at the nose wheel components, nose wheel pant and strut and everything. Really super nice design here, guys. Here's the special strut for the front. It already has sort of a knurled area here where you're going to glue this thing in position. This whole strut just goes straight into the nose wheel pant. And then I believe this is epoxied in place probably here after some sanding, which is why they knurled the front edge. And then the wheel is going to go in here with an axle. 3 wheels are provided, 3 foam wheels that fit in there, but just super nice, just glassy quality to the fiberglass moldings on this plane. Also included with the kit, lots of axles, nuts, bolts, screws, all the hardware that you need, hinges, horns, fuel tubing for your cleviches, heat shrink wraps. These are the main wing bolts that bolt the wings on from the inside of the fuselage. Just real nice quality components, guys. Looks like they give you all the bulkheads you need, whether you're going to do a glow motor or whether you're going to do the electric motor. Everything's really in the bag. And some Velcro, probably for battery strap and so forth. Some internal component, I don't know what that's for, and of course an antenna to mount on the top for scale appearance, but real complete hardware packages included with the plane. Once again, 2 components that I'm not going to be using on the airplane, but if you like glow motors, guys, the glow motor mount and fuel tank do come with the airplane. Also, regardless, whichever power setup you use, real nice aluminum spinner comes with this thing, with really all the hardware you need for different shaft sizes and so forth. So really nice nice looking spinner, aluminum spinner for this airplane. Last but not least, they supply you with this really nice sticker sheet with GreatPlanes and Cirrus stickers that you can apply to your airplane and add a little authenticity to it. And finally, the instruction manual. This is also available online, but they give you a real nice hard copy with it. The last 30 years of modeling I've been doing, I've gotten a lot of my information and the way that I do things out of these manuals. The GreatPlanes manuals are pretty much the industry leader in manuals, and not only does it just show you how to put it together, it gives you a lot of information on how to do things that you will apply to other models. So they've always been the best, and again, I've learned so much from these things over the years, and it's definitely a good idea to follow everything that's in here. But again, a lot of options for this airplane. You have an electric motor option, glow motor option, lots of servo and different power options and component options. But what you mostly really want to take out of the manuals, of course, as always, is the center of gravity. They show it here as 2¼ inches or 57 millimeters aft the leading edge, and they show it balancing right here. GreatPlanes, again, they're usually dead on with this stuff. Also the rates for your control surfaces. Usually the GreatPlanes numbers that they give you here usually work perfectly. One way that this airplane differs greatly from a lot of the other reviews that I've done in the past, I'm usually doing plug-and-play models, whereas this is an ARF, so it does need other components to get it going. Most of the airplanes I review, they already have servos, motor, speed controller, everything's all rigged up. But this airplane needs some other components to it, and I'm going to be using all the recommended items because they're advertised really to be sort of plug-and-play. So Futaba servos, aileron extensions, Y harnesses, batteries, motors, speed controllers, different things that you need to get this thing rolling. And I went ahead and laid them all out for you here, right here, just to give you kind of an idea. Now I sort of split this screen sort of in half with the propeller here to show you the power system I'm going to be using, and then the control system that I'm going to be using. The Rimfire 55, Flightpower 60 amp speed controller, and Flightpower 6-cell 3350 30C pack that'll be going in this thing. Of course, a 1412 APC or 1410 APC prop, and then you know, the servos and batteries you need. You need several extensions and Y harnesses, and again, all that stuff is listed right here in the manual. And again, I'm using all the recommended stuff, so I'll be able to report on how everything works in there. Now, you only need 2 of these 3004 servos if you're using an electric motor, because one of them is for throttle, so I don't need throttle control because I'm running an electronic speed controller. But extension wise here, you can see you need a 6-inch extension, 2 9-inch extensions, 2 16s, 2 Y harnesses, switch harness, charge receptacle, which is not necessary, but it's a nice thing that kind of cleans up the inside of the model, and at least a 1600 milliamp receiver battery. Now you can see here I'm using a 2000 receiver battery, and I'm also using a volt watch. I'm using the 2000 battery just because it's a little more power to your servos, a little more longevity to operating your airplane. But anyway, guys, here's the breakdown of the components you'll need, and as I install these things, I'll be talking to you more about them as I put them in the airplane. Anyway, guys, that concludes this part 1 of the Cirrus R22. Check for part 2 and part 3, and I'll put links at the end that you'll be able to go to those. Part 2, of course, is going to be the building portion of this review, and part 3 is going to be the flight demo that'll put all this stuff together. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for checking out RC Informer and checking out this review, and as always, we will see you next time.